Hello everyone and welcome to my channel again. In this video we'll be talking about the general equipment in Punishing Grey Raven. So what kind of equipment do we have in the game? Before we start talking about that, let's think about what other games have. They have, like, in general terms, they have like just general equipment like the rings, the armor, etc. and etc. In some games there are like unique type of equipment. For example, in Genshin Impact there is artifacts, which is quite fascinating, and how the Punishing Grey Raven handled this situation as well. In Punishing we have weapon and memories, which is quite interesting. Why memories? So the general idea is that characters here are constructs, which are like cyber genetically modified robots. They're like high-tech quality robots with artificial intelligence and etc. But I'm kinda not following the whole story, what's happening in the Punishing Grey Raven, because for me it was kinda boring, not so interesting. But the most interesting part are memories. So why do they call them memories and etc.? Since they're robots and etc., these kind of games have like this kind of equipment, which is like the heroes or the famous people from previous era and etc. For example, here we have Shakespeare. But these games do like to chase genders of these famous people, and which is quite in a way it's funny, in a way it's interesting and etc. For example, we have here Einstein. This is quite funny in a way. And these memories, yes, if we look into the story of this game, yeah, we're basically like executing certain parts of memories of these famous people, and constructs are using this part of memory to enhance them, which is quite an interesting way to add equipment in this game. All the different memories have their, different stats. Also, they have their uniqueness, their unique skills, passives, and etc. Okay, let's talk about stats. Before we talk about stats, it's like we have 6 parts of memories here, and each part have their each kind of stat. For example, let's start with first one. The first one actually has HP and crit. The second one has HP crit, and basically the first row is HP crit. In the second row is attack defense, and attack defense. So most people prefer to max the second row first and the first row later. But there is also a slight difference, because in some cases when a specific memory is used on the first part, it could have a bit more HP than the other memories. For example, Darwin has a bit more HP in the first part here, and the others not so much. We can actually make a comparison. Okay, let's take an example and we can see the difference. For example, we have in the fourth slot we have Patton, which has 132 attack and 223 defense. And let's compare it, for example, to Darwin, which is also max level, and it has 128 and 218. Fascinating, isn't it? So it actually matters which part of memory in which set you use, and it makes a slight difference. But if you're free to play, it's kind of like this. You basically take what you get, and it's hard to farm for specific memories. I'm recording a live video because we need to check every single thing in live, so you could see where is located where and etc. For example, in this shop you can actually, from the recycled memories, you can actually build fresh memories. There are 5-star memories here and 6 stars. For example, you got a lot of extra memories. Then you're thinking like, why not? I can recycle them and can get an extra memory with that. But keep in mind that when you're recycling, for example, a 6-star memory, you basically get 50 shards, and you need like 150 shards to get a 6-star memory. The second part of this video is weapons. So there are different kind of weapons, and we must keep in mind that every single weapon is designed for a specific character and which works better on that specific character. For example, we can see that we have two Kareninas, Karenina Blast and Karenina Ice, for now at least. And all the Kareninas have different type of fighting styles and elements, which is important. For example, Karenina Blast has physical and fire. Basically, she doesn't do much of a fire damage, and all of her attacks are physical, so it is better to have physical weapon on her. And as for the Karenina S, she's mainly fire DPS, 70% of fire damage. That's why she requires a specific fire damage weapon. And also in the banner, let's go in there, there's a selection banner, for example, and we can actually select the weapons we want, and both of them are selectable. For example, this is the physical weapon for Karenina, and the fire weapon is somewhere below here. So keep in mind that when you want to get a specific weapon, do take notes. What kind of damage does your character do? Is it a specific element? Is it a physical damage? And you need to choose the specific weapon for that character. For example, in this game there are a lot of Lucias. So there is, for example, Lotus Breaker, Inverse Shadow, and there is also Sakura, which is below the last one, which is specifically designed for the physical Lucia, which is Alpha. And we might as well show you that character, as this is her, the Crimson Abyss Lucia. People call her Alpha. So keep in mind that every single weapon matters, which one you pick, and etc. All the level ups and everything for the memories and the weapons, they're basically same kind of procedure for everything. For example, to level up a weapon, you need to have the overclock materials, and quite a lot of them, and you need to have either a 3-star spare weapon or a 4-star weapon or a 5-star. But keep in mind, do keep those 5-star weapons just in case you will need them later, and mostly like feed 4-star and 3-star weapons. And there are also material types, and let's check in the weapon sections. This is the material type weapons, which basically just gives a lot of XP, and they basically don't have any skill or anything you could use out of them. Absolutely same goes for the memories. For example, let's take the Shakespeare. If you want to improve its characteristics, you basically need to overclock it and feed it. Also in weapons and memories, we have this extra section here, resonance. So what is resonance? Basically you have to feed exactly the same type of memory or weapon to the one you want to upgrade. For example, I want to upgrade the Shakespeare, which is in the first slot. I need to feed it like any slot Shakespeare. For example, if I have extra 6 slot Shakespeare, I have to feed it to it, and it basically gives extra sets. Well, for example, I have Pattern fully upgraded here, and let's check what kind of resonances we have. It can actually give you the skill level ups. For example, this one has QTE level 1, the blue orb level 1, but it also gives additional stats. For example, we can see here it gave me HP and attack. So every time you do your resonance, it basically adds bonus stats, or you can get a bonus +1 in the skill as well. But there is also difference when you're upgrading a 6-star, I mean resonating a 6-star or a 5-star weapon. For example, 6-star effect gains a specific skill. It actually can give you a specific skill. But in case of 5-star weapons, gains 2 determined basic stat bonuses. As for the memories, well, it's basically the same. Effect randomly increases 2 stats. Effect randomly gains 1 skill, and skill levels can be stacked as well. And it might also give you a bonus stat. Well, that's for the resonance, overclocking memories, and etc. Before we end this video, I'd like to add a couple of things as well. Well, we said that every single memory set has different kind of stats and etc. But even though some of them might sound good for a specific character, it can actually be bad in a way. For example, let's talk about Bianca. Well, Bianca basically requires to add, she's a physical DPS, but we could build her like physical set, but instead I prefer to use the basic attack damage because it increases the damage even farther more than the physical stat memory. So to check what kind of memory is kinda better for that specific construct, you can actually check that in details and recommended equipment. But do keep in mind that these sets don't define that this is an absolute must to build such a memory set or use that specific weapon and etc. For example, in Warzone, somebody is using a 4 Coty set, but if you ask me, I prefer to use 4 Shakespeare and 2 Cotys. And why is this kind of set, and what kind of benefits does this set use on Karenina? For example, if we check on Shakespeare, it gives fire damage bonus, and fire damage increases generally with all attack increases 3%, and it also has a 50% chance to inflict burn, and it causes an explosion with a 20% chance, and etc. Also, it reduces the resistance to fire damage and deals extra 12% fire damage per second. But as for 4 Cotys, it also gives all damage increased by 15% for 10 seconds after performing a signature move and gain super armor. So some people prefer that, but I honestly prefer 2 set in the Warzone because it gives like extra energy and you need 20% less energy to activate the ultimate. So yeah, in a way it's good to have 4 set, but in a way it's good to have 2 set of Coty and 4 set of Shakespeare. It's absolutely up to you how you like it and etc. In Phantom Cage, well, the Karenina is mostly an AoE DPS, that's why kinda she's not a very good choice in the Phantom Cage, but for now we do everything we get. I mean, we use every single construct we have right now. In the future there will be a lot more constructs and people will be using different kind of variations of constructs. For example, somebody is recommending 4 Shakespeare and 2 Darwin, and as I said in one of the videos, 2 Darwin is generally good for mostly all constructs, the 2-piece set, because it generally increases all damage by 3% and etc. and it's stacking up to 5 times. And yes, this is also a good choice in Warzone as well, but if you have 2 Coty, it's better to use 2 Coty because there are like a lot of monsters, enemy there, and we just basically need to rush everything. Well, thanks for all for watching. This is for now, and this is the basic understanding of weapons and equipment. So see you around.